So a modern feature of many blogs is to have a functionality where users can like posts. So this is what we're going to do here. And it's going to consist of implementing a way to count the number of likes and store them in the database, preventing a user from liking a post multiple times, and preventing an unauthenticated user from liking posts. So this is what we'll implement here in this section. So let's first start with the SQL and create two new fields. One called like user ID and one likes. Like user ID is actually going to be an array that contains all of the user IDs of people who like the post. And likes is just going to be one number. That's going to be the number of likes for the post. And like user ID might seem a little intimidating, but really all we're doing is int array. So in array of integers, default, this is the default value, and the default is going to be an array of integers, and the double colon is what's called typecasting. So we're saying default or empty array of type integer of arrays. So to put it another way, we're just creating a field of an array of integers, that's like user ID, and then we're setting the default value of it to an empty array, which we're using typecasting, which means we're setting the type to an empty array of integers. So it's not that complicated. And then likes is really just a number, and the number of likes for each post. And now we can move on to our routes and our SQL queries. So we're only going to need one express route for handling likes, and it's going to be a put request. And this is because our likes are already initialized with a value. For likes at 0 and like user ID is an empty array. And we're not going to use posts since, again, it's already initialized, so we just have to update it. And this is why we only need the put request. So let's start writing the code. So it's going to be router.put, then API put in likes. And first we're going to need the user ID. So we can save it in a const called uid. And then we need the post ID, which is going to be a string, and then rec.body.postid. And then we can just combine these two variables in a const called values. And then let's now do our SQL queries. So we're going to do update post, because again, it's a put request. And then we're going to set like user ID equals like user ID $1. And this double line means we're concatenating the array, because remember, like user ID is an array. So we have to concatenate the array to add the user ID to the array, and then comma likes equals likes plus 1, and we're just doing a simple iteration of likes. And then we need our where condition, and again, we don't want a user to be able to like a post multiple times, so we do where not like user ID at greater than $1, and at $1 means contains. So we're doing where not like user ID contains our $1, which is our UID variable. And since we're using the not clause, we're saying where the like user ID does not contain our user ID. So this ensures a unique value for our array of user IDs. And we also need another condition where PID equals $2, since again, a user may like multiple posts, so we don't want to exclude them from liking other posts if they already liked one post. And then we just do comma values and then our QR and QREST function. And this is it. This is all we have to do on the server side to like posts. Let's now go on our client side and begin setting up the like user posts in our blog. First thing we'll have to do is get material icons, and this is what we'll use as a thumbs up symbol. Since again, this is a very recognizable icon and not having it will not make any sense. So how we do it, we first import it from Google Fonts. This is the URL, but I'll leave it in the resources at the end of the section. Again, it's a long URL. It's better to just copy and paste it. And again, it's going to be in the resources at the end of the section. So let's now go in our post.js file and then display the number of likes for each post. And let's go to our render posts function and then display them here. So let's just first start off with a flex row, because we want the net likes to be in their own row. And we will do it right under the date created. So div class name flex row, and then I, which is the icon. And you can use this here if you're not familiar with material icons. And we have to pass in the class name of material icons, and then thumb up and then closing tag I. And again, this may seem a little bit strange if you've never used material icons, but this is the correct syntax to display any material icon you want. And there's hundreds of them, so if you're curious, I'll link to different material icons in the resources section. And next we have another div, and we'll give it a class name of notification numPost. And this will basically style the thumb and the likes. And this will give it an overall nicer appearance. And then for our actual likes, we do post.post.likes. And again, this is very similar to how we display all the other properties of our post. So let's now go to our app.css file and then add a little bit of styling to this notification numPost. So we'll just do padding left 5px. And we'll leave it simple for now. We'll do a much more complex styling setup on our actual show post component where the user will actually be able to like the post. In the forum on the main page, the user can see the likes, but they can't actually like the post. Liking the post will handle in the show post component where each individual post is displayed. So let's do this now. And let's also close our post.js file because we are done with it for now. So the very first thing we need is 3 properties of local state, and we need likes, which is going to be this.props.location.state.post.post.likes. And again, this is very similar to what we've seen before of how we got the post ID in post title. And if you didn't see those sections, this is just the given default functionality we're getting from React Router. So this.props.location.state is a given property of React Router, and we use this property in our post.js component, and from there we're able to pass in all the data and information for each post, and we can access them here like so. So again, remember, likes is just a property of each post, so we can just access it with location.state, and then we'll set it to our own property of likes in our local component. And then next we need the like user IDs. And again, we'll access this property the same exact way we did with likes. And then we need a like post, and we'll set it to true. So this is basically saying, is the user able to like the post? And if they already liked it, this will go back to false. But if they haven't, it will just stay true. So this is how we handle a user not being able to like a post multiple times on the front end. And on the back end, this is handled with SQL. And now we'll go to our render method and then implement the like functionality. So we'll implement likes by wrapping it in a anchor tag. And then the first thing we'll do is give style, cursor, and then pointer. So this will make the cursor change to a pointer, which will let the user know that this item is clickable. Without this, you will not have this. So it will be difficult for the user to know if they can click this like icon or not. Then we'll have the onClick method, and then we have to first make sure if the user is authenticated. And if yes, we will run the this.handleLikes, which we'll set up in a second. And if not, we'll replace the user to the home page. And next we'll have our material icon. And again, this is the same thing we saw in the post.js component. And then to actually display the likes, we'll do it in a small element, and we'll give it the class name of notification numPost, which we'll set up in a second. And finally, we can just close off the anchor tag. And let's now begin setting up our handle likes function. So we'll need the user ID and post ID. And we saw this when we were setting up our Express server. And we'll get the user ID from our Redux state with the this.db profile, element 0, and then .uid. And then we'll also need the post ID, which we can get from location.state. And let's just combine these two variables in a data const. And we'll set UID to user ID and post ID to post ID. And remember, our Express server, we set up a route as a put request. So we'll do this here with Axios as well. So it'll be axios.put/API/put/likes. And then data as the argument. We do a .then statement, and then we'll need to set up a ternary expression inside of this .then statement. We'll do exclamation point, which means not this.state.like user ID includes user ID. And .includes is a given JavaScript function, and we can use it on arrays. So remember, like user ID is a array, and it contains all the array of user IDs that's liked the specific post. And if the array of user IDs contains the user ID of the current user, then we don't want to let them like this post again. But that's not enough. We also need another and condition, and we'll do this.state.like post. And again, like post is a local property we set up that's saying, is the user able to like this post? Because if it's the first time they're liking this post, then obviously it's not going to be available from our database and their user ID is not going to be contained in like user ID. So we need both of these conditions to make the likes work properly. And then if true, we do this dot set state and then likes equal to this dot state dot likes plus 1. So when a user likes a post, it will show up instantly on their user interface, and if not, we just do null. And finally, after this dot then statement, we need another one, and this will make sure our user cannot like the post again. So we'll just do like post and set it to false. And finally, we just console.log if we have any errors. Alright, we're done setting up our handle likes. So let's look through this app and see if there's any small mistakes. And yes, in our handle likes, our user ID, we need this.props.db profile. And our history.replace should be an arrow function. Otherwise, this history.replace will run automatically whenever the component is rendered. And we also need is authenticated in our map state props. So this is it. Let's now test our app. So let's first begin by logging in. And let's now go to our forum. And perfect. As you can see, our likes are showing up. And of course, I did pre-populate the forum and the database with likes already. And let's just create a new post and we'll just enter in some random strings. And let's now click on this post and then like the post. And awesome, it is working so far. And let's click the back button. And yes, if we see our like is now showing up as before it was 0. And let's now go on this forum post and see if we can like it again. And no, if we click on it again, it is not updating because again, our user ID is in the array of like users ID. And since the user IDs are matching, we cannot like the post. So let's try something else. Let's go on a completely random indifferent post and try to like that one. Alright, so we are able to like this post and click on it again. No, we cannot like it again. And if you remember, we passed in a class name of num notification post when in our code in the show post component. And I just wanted you to see what it looks like without styling. So as you can see, the number is on the bottom right of the thumb icon. And again, it doesn't look as nice. It's usually what you see in websites is the number of likes is usually on the top right. And there's usually a red circle around the number. So let's implement this here. So let's go in our app.css file and create a .notification numPost class. The first thing we'll do is position relative, and this will allow us to play around with the position of the number and set it where we want. And next we'll do padding 5px and 9px, and this will again just give the number a little bit of padding because we're going to wrap it in a red circle. And then background color red, and the color of the actual text will be this. And again, this is just a random color I like. You can make it whatever you want based on your preference. And then bottom is 23px. And again, this gives us a way to position the red circle. And right 5px. So bottom means we're going to make the notification appear above what it is right now. And right, we're just going to move it a little bit right 5px. And then we'll do z index of -1. So this will mean it will be behind the thumb icon and will not be obstructing it. And then we have our border radius of 50%, and this is what makes it a circle. And let's save and check our browser. Since this is CSS, it will update automatically. We don't have to reload our browser to check if the CSS worked. And again, we do see, yes, we do have a little red circle in the number of likes. And again, this just makes it look a little bit nicer. And it's more common to see this styling in most websites. And just to really make sure, we can even go back to our main forum and then click on another post. And yes, it's still working. It's still the same.